Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about that what was the early modern economic thought that is related with the mercantilism and its impact on the global trade. So, what was the mercantilism? Mercantilism means to say when the economies are thinking about that they have to do more and more export and they have to do less import. And apart from this, mercantilism was focusing on that they have to reserve more gold and silver. So it called as bullionism. So now we are moving ahead with the concept mercantilism. So mercantilism, if we say, it was an economic theory and dominated European thought from 16th to 18th century, and it was holding the national strengths that was depend upon the wealth accumulation, that how you can earn more and more gold and silver and how you are going to increase your export. Primarily, if we focus here, so that was related with the gold and silver. Now, if you talk about the historical concept of mercantilism, so it was emerged during the age of exploration from 15th to 18th century, and it was wholly depend upon, or you can say it was influenced by the European colonies, and they were understanding that there is a need for the strong nation states, that they do not want the dependence on others, but they want that they should increase their worth. They want to increase their wealth through the more and more by doing their export and less low level of the import. Apart from this, like major proponent, if we say, so Jean-Baptiste Collabrate of France, Thomas Mun from England, and moreover, if we say there were different individuals were there that have given this particular thought of mercantilism. So now we are moving ahead. Now we are going to discuss about the first key principle of the mercantilism, that was Bullionism. So that is related with that whatever the kingdoms were there, or you can say the nation or the states, they are going to earn more and more gold and silver and they will create the reserve for the same. Nations sought to be accumulate precious metals through that trade surpluses. Then how this trade surpluses will generate? Through that, if you are going to do more export, export means to say when you are going to sell more goods to outside countries, and when you are having the less import, then it will create the trade surpluses for the countries. Now, next one key principle, that is trade surplus. Encourage exports and restrict import to maintain a positive trade balance. That will show that country is having the trade surpluses. Now, next one, that is related with the government intervention. That what exactly the intervention of the government is there, what are the different control activities in the economy that is performed by the government. Like if we say here, that could be the tariff policies, the monopolies and the subsidies that are provided by the government. Now, next one we are talking about the key principle, that is colonialism and resource exploitation. Colonies were crucial source of raw material and the exclusive market for the finished goods. For this particular concept, if we say, that is mercantilism. Next one we'll talk about protectionist policies. Tariffs and quotas were imposed to limit the foreign, whatever the imports we were doing at that point of time. Of then when this particular mercantilism concept was evolved in 16th century. So more and more tariffs, if it will be there, or you can say taxes will be there. So that will enhance the concept of enhancing the export and reducing the you can say that is your import. Now if we'll say next key principle of mercantilism, that is favorable balance of trade. When import is going to be discouraged and export is going to be promoted, then it is going to create the favorable balance of trade for one country. Now we are moving ahead. What are the major mercantilist policies and strategies? First is high tariff on the import. So, high tariff for import means to say when we are purchasing something from outside country. So, if you are going to impose more and more tariffs over there, so then there will be reduction in the import. So, this is the one policy and strategy through which we can say that companies or countries can move ahead towards the balance of trade, positive balance of trade. Next one, state controlled monopolies. So if he we'll see here the example, the British East India Company and Dutch East India Company control trade routes and resources. Similarly, other countries will take, let's say South Korea is there, US is there. So they are going to generate their own trade policies to control the related with the how they are going to control the particular trade routes and what exactly the resources we are going to take from the other countries. Now further, if we are moving ahead with the topic, that is next uh, point under this, subsidies to domestic industry. So what are the whosoever the government is there, controlling government is there, they are going to provide certain subsidies means to certain boost of money to the industries that required by the local industries or the companies. So when the government is going to boost certain finance to the local industries and exports, so obviously, and this is like is going to be help to gain more and more economic benefits, and then that will enhance the, that will boost the economic strength. Next one, colonial trade regulation. Here we take the example, Spain restrictive policies forced colonies to trade only with the mother country, means to say with the host country. So you understand when there are certain restrictive trade policies are there, that will also help to grow an economy and that will lead to a positive balance of trade. Now we'll talk about accumulation of in gold and silver, or either you can say bullionism. So different empires at that point of time, they were focusing on that they are going to reserve more and more gold and silver. So that will show that that is a strong economy. Now we can talk about that what are the impacts of the mercantilism on the global trade. First is expansion of colonial empires. At the point of time from 16th to 18th century, European nation aggressively colonized the parts of Africa, Asia and America. Apart from this, like if we say Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, and Netherlands expanded their overseas holding because of this particular mercantilism concept in 16th to 18th century. Now, next one, I will say rise of powerful trading companies. Let's take an example, that is British East India Company in 1600. They and Dutch East India Company in 1602. That was dominated by the spice trade in Southeast Asia. Now I will talk about another one company example over here of powerful trading companies. That was French East India Company. That was also because of their mercantilism. You can say that have shown a boost over there in their growth. Apart from this growth of the transatlantic trade and slave trade, mercantilism fueled with the triangular trade between Europe, Africa, and America. All these continents were there that were getting the benefit out of this. European goods were exchanged for African slaves who were then sent to work in American colonies. Apart from this, next point here, economic rivalries and wars. Anglo-Dutch War, that was also the result of this mercantilism, fought over trade dominance in 1650 to 1674, and that war of Spanish succession, that was dispute over colonial control. Then 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, Britain and France fought for the trade supremacy, and that was also like the result of this particular mercantilism on the global trade. So next one we are talking about criticism and decline of mercantilism. Adam Smith critic in 1776 in The Wealth of Nation, Smith argued that free trade benefit for all nation. He criticized that zero-sum nature of the mercantilism, advocated for laissez-faire economy, that there should be certain relaxations also in the economies to so that different trades can get benefit out of this. The Industrial Revolution 18th to 19th century increased productivity and mass production made restrictive trade policies that what were earlier introduced was outdated at that point of time. So free market capitalism encouraged innovation and encouragement for the new businesses that can lead the that can boost the economic growth. So next one we talk about here, shift towards free trade. So Britain adopted free trade policies by repealing the Corn Laws in 1846. That was rising the economic liberalism led to open international market for the economies. And next one, inefficiencies and economic burden. Mercantilism lead to high cost for the consumers, and that was like because that their higher tariffs were there and over reliance on the colonies were creating the economic disturbances. So, what are the modern implications of the mercantilism? So, first is that it is influence. It is was having the influence on modern protectionism. Some countries still use tariff subsidies and trade barriers. Like we can take example of like U.S. China trade war, and still if right now if we'll see that there is a war in U.S. Iran Israel that is going on, Gulf countries are involving are the part of this. So this is also like you can say this is the modern implication of protectionism. Formation of global trade institution, WTO, International Monetary Fund, free trade agreements evolved to promote the open market operations so that more economies can grow and can interact with each other in terms of trade, and they can enhance their growth. Economic nationalism today, America first policy under Donald Trump resembled mercantilist strategy, and still if you see this particular war, so that is also showing the that certain like all the economies are going to suffer from this all this mercantilism approach. And Make in India initiative promote domestic manufacturing imports, so that is also one of the implication of mercantilism. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the lecture. If any doubts you have related with the topic mercantilism, you can write in comment. Thank you so much, everyone.